I start to record, and here we are. Here you can see the picture of one of the two campus, one of the two buildings, let's say, we have in Pollenzo. This is the more historical one, where there are some offices of the university, the library, and the canteen on the right. While just opposite to it, in the small square of Pollenzo, there is the church, and looking at the church just on the left, there is another structure that is the Pollenzo Food Lab. And we cannot talk about our course without talking about the Pollenzo Food Lab. The Pollenzo Food Lab is one of the last structure that the university acquired about 9 years ago. It was 2012 when we got it. And with the Pollenzo Food Lab, that used to be the space for a restaurant, actually, that then has been refurbished, and so we have different space, one for didactic, like a normal classroom, and then one for didactic, just applied to kitchen, where there are 3 big islands on which we have 25 personal place where students can work using induction plate, and so, and then there is a professional kitchen. The Pollenzo Food Lab was a very important point to complete what for us at the University of Gastronomic Sciences means gastronomy. Gastronomy is everything that is related to food, and we were missing actually a part where also was possible to do the practice, because even if the University of Gastronomic Sciences is not a university devoted to cooking, but is devoted to food, anyway, the preparation of food that is cooking, but is also fermenting and is many other things, for sure is a very important part of it. So since when we have this space, we use it in different courses, optional and non-optional, in the 3-year undergrad course, in the 2-year master, and then also in the other master, but for sure is somehow the house where most of the lectures of the Master of Applied Gastronomy Culinary Arts happen. And so that's why we wanted to mention it. We are here to present the Master of Applied Gastronomy Culinary Arts, that is a 1-year master, so is worth 90 university credits. Like all the other 1-year masters that we have in Pollenzo, different from the 2-year master that we have that is part of the 3+2 system. This is the only master where cuisine is the key point. Somehow is the evolution of another master that we had for 3 years. We had 5 editions, 3 in Italian and 2 in English, of a master that in English was called The Slow Art of Italian Cuisine. Then we stopped for a while to think about, and we came out with this other course that again has the hallmark of the idea of gastronomy in Pollenzo, and so the idea of different disciplines, even if in this course we selected mainly the scientific ones, so has been a choice not to involve in the discipline of the course the humanistic subject. For example, beside communication, there is not something about anthropology of history, has been a choice. But for sure is a master where we have both the theory and the practice. Just telling you since now something that you will also see in the last slide, there are about 700 and a bit more than 700 hours of lectures in Pollenzo, and a bit more than about half of them, let's say, are of practice in the Pollenzo Food Lab. Beside this, then there is what is practically present in all other courses, the didactic trips also that are very important for us. But this course is to our way to see what culinary arts are, and also the way that we develop the course is to give the idea of complexity about food. And that is because when we were thinking about this course, we were thinking about what would have mean to cook in the future. So cook in the future, and to form the people that were cooks in the future. And actually, even especially after COVID-19, we have to even more really agree on the fact that cuisine is not just a matter of preparing food and serve it to the people. And that's why one of the sectors that has been more affected by COVID for sure is the restaurant system, and that is why new formats, for example, necessarily will come out in the future. So we have been thinking while designing this course about what would have been the task and the challenges that people working in this field has to face in the future. We also involved as much as possible former students in different courses in Pollenzo, because we thought they were the best people to transfer, to be able to communicate what is Pollenzo. We don't have to teach them what means to be a gastronome. So the several people that we involved in different parts of the courses, they not only teach something about their specific subject, but they do it with the vision of being a gastronome. And for us, is a huge added value. How we structured the course? How I say, there are about 700 hours in Pollenzo, and there is a big group of basic subject, and that the basic necessarily has to be big, because also looking at the experience we had in the course that we finished recently, this course has to be and is suitable both for people that has no experience in cuisine, but also for people who have experience in cuisine. Just to tell you, in the former course we had 25 students from 13 different countries. 3 or 4 of them were been professional cooks for several years. Others never had really an experience in cuisine, but they wanted to take this course to deepen something they may use in the future. And we have to say that the way we designed the course was actually successful, to be able not to have people with experience bored, and not to have people with no experience not able to stay on the track. As you can see in the basics, is mainly about subjects that how I say are scientific. There is something about food chemistry, which are the molecules in food, to understand what happens actually in a transformation. There is something about the biological transformation in foods. Many foods, you think about cheese, bread, wine, beer, they require the action of different biological factors. Then there are some basics about animal and crop production, because more and more who is working in the restaurant has to make choice about which grocery, which greens to use, and which kind of meat to use. So we are not against meat. The problem is more which meat. And so here there will be people introducing the different way to raise animals, and also there will be a part of practice about tasting the different with different source, also to understand in what is translated all what is happening before. Something about ecology, to understand again the complexity of the relationship about food. Something about taste science, because at the end we transform food. We can do it for different reasons, but then we have to come out with something that is edible and also that tastes nice. And so something to understand how is working the sensory system that we use to appreciate food. Something about psychology and cognitive science, again related to food. How do we decide that something is good or bad? Why something that is good that I like, somebody else don't like? So which are the processes? And then something about nutrition and health, because it's not an optional anymore, that the cuisine now already in the food has to be a tool for health, because it could be a wonderful tool for health, or could be also a slow tool to make people not healthy. And this both from the theoretical part, but also we invite somebody with experience in cuisine, where these aspects about nutrition are considered. And then, as you will see at the end, of course, there will be also basics about cooking techniques, because especially people who have not skills must have it. And how I was saying, there is about 170 hours that all these basics cover. From here on, the course is structured in a process. Why? What it means, a process? Well, groups, the course was divided in milk, cereals, fish, grocery, greens, produce, etc., etc. In this case, we wanted more to concentrate on the process. The process is the transformation that it happens. As you will see, there is what you do on the food before to cook it, so the process that happens on the raw. Then there is a part about eating, the part about fermentation, and then there is the part something about the pairing. Also, because this way to proceed by process was the good way we saw to overcome the problem of which cuisine are you doing. Actually, also the course we had in the past, even if the title was The Slow Art of Italian Cuisine, actually was not a course about Italian cuisine, because we had 7 people out of 24 in the 5 on the other edition that were coming from Asia. So necessarily they have to have interest. So we are not here to teach Italian cuisine, but we are here not even to teach, but to make people to understand how to analyze the complex process of cuisine, the transformation of food, which factors to consider, so that the people will be able to understand by their own, and also to decide the kind of cuisine they want to do. As I always say, we don't want to train the people to teach how to do something, but what is important is to understand why transformation are happening. And here we see which are the process. So there is a part about scouting and sourcing, even before, how do I look for my product that then I'm going to transform in cuisine. So there is, in this part, there is something about foraging, about cuisine gardening, because more and more there are restaurants, they have their own garden to produce the greens and so. And so to have an idea about how can I starting from scratch to build my garden is important. And there is a practice also, because in Pollenzo we do have our own garden. So students staying a certain number of months over the year, they can be there and also practice about it. Edible biodiversity is a course in which we invite people that have experience in restaurants, and last year and also this year we will have somebody coming from the group of Central in Peru, Virgilio Martinez, because they use the biodiversity in their area, and they transform it in their cuisine and they communicate it to their people. So this is something that we put in this scouting and sourcing part. Then there is a part about the raw, how to treat raw material, what I have to do on the raw, how to keep them in the fridge, for example. How can I, because we have to be careful not to become rotten. And so then there is a part about cold process, because, for example, there are many transformations happening in a cuisine that do not require heat. For example, think the formation of a gel, not necessarily require heat. Well, if you use collagen, yes, but if you use other substances, not necessarily. Or also the foam formation, or to do the emulsion. So what is the process that happens when I make an emulsion or when I make a foam? Then there is a part about the maturation of meat that also happen at a low temperature, and also parts about cuts and the boning of both meat and fish. There is a part about salads, and then again, different sauces that do not require the use of heat. Then there is a part about fermenting. Fermentation, we know now that in restaurants is very important in different aspects, has always been for bread, pizza, and all those kind of products, but now we know that many restaurants use fermentation or to produce some kind of small milk derivatives, or also on other. Is enough to think about Noma, that even being in a country with not a big culture about fermentation, but following the wave of our other chefs in US, brought in Europe this thing about fermentation restaurants. We are very lucky for this, because we have David Zilber, that even if he's not working anymore at Noma, he came last year, and also he will come in the future to teach about this. And then we have Ben Reed, that is a former student that had for a while the Edinburgh Food Studio, and now he opened a bakery in Edinburgh. And then we have other former students with a very successful bakery, actually a chain of bakery that is Forno Brisa in Bologna, and so. But the idea is fermentation in restaurants, so not bread. Then of course depends, is a matter of scaling up. Then we go to the process that happen due to heat. And so there is a hot process, which are some of the transformation that happens, how heat goes through different materials, and different ways of cooking, wet heat, dry heat, and frying, that are different process that using different mean, they reach different temperature, and because of this different reaction happen and different products we can produce. Then in the season we put infusion, extraction, and sauce. What can I do in a kitchen if I want to extract from a plant that I have picked through the foraging, but then I cannot keep for a long time, but I want to extract the flavors from it? How can I do it? And so infusion and extraction, what is the difference? What can I use as a solvent in a kitchen? And then also sauce, different sauce belong to this seasoning part. And then what we have again, we have the pairing. How can we create a dish? We are the process that we have to consider to create a dish in terms of different tastes and flavors that I have put together. But also then from the different dishes, how can I build a menu? Because there should be a line to follow. And here there are some information about how the brain works, also about this, what we look at first in a plate. And then is also something about the pairing of food and drinks. Without being sommelier, but especially because many restaurants right now, they stay in a scale, and the people there, they have to know they have to know how to present or to know something about wine. We know that, for example, plus food and drinks is not just wine, for example, but we know that wine is a subject that some people want always to know more about it. Other people don't care much. So we are very careful not to insist too much on wine, but we put something about it, about wine, about different drinks that can be paired. In some cases, may also be infusion or juices and so. Then there is a part about preserving. Why preserving in a course about culinary arts? Because actually we know that different chefs, different cooks in their cuisine, or they produce they preserve some food when is the season to use then that good food during the year, or other chefs that use transformation to size some food to avoid the waste. And so these are two eyes that we think is very important to have. If you have a garden, when you have a lot of tomatoes, you probably do your own tomato sauce. So you have to have some ideas about the preservation theory, what I have to do to have a food that is durable, and how can I put it in jars or in different kind of cans, or how can I use drying to preserve, or just to have an ingredient in a different form. And then also something about smoking. It is very important to add the flavor and, as I was saying, to preserve. Communication also here is very important. Naming and plating. How should I give the name to a plate, to a dish that then is on the menu? Do I want to have a very vague idea of what is it, or I want when people read the name of the dish to understand what it is? What should be the best way? Describing when you have somebody in the restaurant seated, or anyway, whatever food you prepare, whatever system, then you have to have somebody to buy it, and you have to describe your food to the people, which are the key points that you should use. Then social media and events. More and more people that cook don't really have a restaurant. You know, now there are the ghost kitchen, there are ghost or dark kitchen, or there are kitchen even fairly big that only work on different events. How should I build up my network? How should I communicate what I can do? And here we use a person that actually has experience with big restaurants in different parts of the world, from South America to Asia, about kind of communication. Cookbooks. Cookbooks, or anyway, cooks dealing with cuisine, we know they are important. Which kind of tool they are? What can I do with them? Not necessarily also without publishing it with big companies, but can I think about a small project about this to communicate what I want to do? And so we cover also this part. And then a small part about managing. Actually, the part about managing is not really about the calculation you have to do, what is coming in, what is coming out, but what I do have to consider, especially if I want to have small or big, that it is a systemic restaurant. What is a systemic restaurant? It's a restaurant, but maybe where I also have the garden, I have the farm, I have the bakery, and then people in the system are extremely important, and also the connection with other actors of the system. And all of this we figure out through the experience of former students that are actually involved in this part. Has been actually one of the most tasky things they have to face during this COVID emergency, to transform a restaurant from a restaurant where they do the delivery, completely change the way you have to think. Because in a restaurant, especially in Nordic countries, you can do 2 or 3 shifts from 5 o'clock until 11 o'clock in the evening. You can have 3 shifts of people seated at the table. While if you do takeaway or delivery, you have to concentrate the time. So completely change the way to work, the people that be present in your restaurant at the same time. And so this to manage the people we know, and to have this vision, and we learn in the last few months, is extremely important. Innovating. Which new systems about a different way of cooking there is now? There are different pots that they can be small or big that can be used. How can I use the different techniques also to develop new product? I may develop a product to be sold in small places, or to bigger places, and so what I have to consider, which are some points that some skills that I can have to be able to develop a new product, and so. And then there is a part that we think is also very important, that we call coding, in which cuisine is something that is reaching many people. We start mass catering. Unfortunately, mass catering is always seen as if you are cooking a mass catering, you are not a successful chef. You are successful if you have stars, and if you are lucky, you prepare a few thousand meals in a year. While we believe that mass catering is extremely important because you prepare food for big numbers of people, and especially all over the year and for many years. So that could be very important for the health of those people and also of a society. We are very lucky to have with us for this Daniel Giusti. If you don't know who it is, please Google it. He has been working many years at Noma, and then from being really the right hand of Redzepi, in 2014, when Noma was really the really top, he decided he wanted to switch to this, and he's working now in the US. He invented a thing called the Brigade, and where they did a wonderful project about this. Then more and more cuisine can be used in social projects as a tool to have the people. So cuisine and social project and social cuisine, somehow they are in the same big group. Is how can we use cuisine in one side to have people that were out, were gone for a while out of the society, to go in. Because usually the kitchen is a place where they go and find it. And also, how can I give skills to people who have no idea about how to prepare their food? And that is a problem because they had a very weird life before, so nobody teach them. And now there are many papers demonstrating that to give them some skills is extremely important. And following this, also food literacy through cuisine. We think, and more there are projects, we are involved also in a couple of them at European level, that food is a wonderful subject, not only to teach science, but also to get people to think about something practical, and also to design a whole system about it. If you buy food, you have to know how to preserve it, you have to know how to transform it. And so somehow it's the metaphor of life. To tidy up a bit your kitchen and your way to prepare your food is used quite a bit. And from here, the word food literacy came out. Another subject that we think is very important and that we cover is gender and cuisine. Cuisine is like a submarine, many hours, many people, small place, and so the dynamics not always are very clean and open. And we have the president of the Parabere Forum that is coming to give some to raise some points about this, and not only gender, but also in the past we had some project with the refugees, for example, about giving them some kitchen skills. And this is really in between the human rights and what's going on in the kitchen. So we are very happy to include these aspects. A few hours, but we think are very important to open up the mind. And then we try, there are on request, let's say, of students in the past, there are some hours devoted to activities together with other master students, because is a request that we got last year, and we think it makes sense, because being in Pollenzo, you get close to other people, and there could be some interface that are interesting also the others. So as you can see, is quite a broad program, design, I would say, in process, not on recipes, let's say. But we think this is the way we like to use to make people to understand how complex is the subject food, and which are some, for sure there are even more, but we have to make a choice which aspects we wanted to touch in our course about a culinary art course. But at the end, how I say is that. Of course, there are also study trips. This is part of the education system in Pollenzo. There are 2 study trips, and for now, for the whole year 2021, we will see in the future. Last year, in last edition, our students managed to do the first study trip in Spain. We were in Catalonia. The second supposed to be in Mexico, and of course it didn't happen due to COVID. This year we hope that from the summer it will be possible to travel again, and so we plan 2 study trips in Italy. For now we are planning about 1 in Sicily and 1 in Tuscany, 2 regions quite different. And then beside these 2 study trips of about 1 week each, we have also about 10 study trips of 1 day nearby, like to go to visit a big garden where they also transform, to go and visit some wineries, to go and visit a place where they transform meat, where they produce cheese, where they make beer, and all these kind of things. So we are in an area, Piedmont, where not too far is possible to go and see this. Usually there is also 1 of 2 days, so we go down to Cremona, so that's why I have to stay away one night to visit a former student that have a sort of agritourism, a farm, but also with the kindergarten where they transform food, they grow greens, they make cheese and salami. So we think is a nice way to show also this one. So these are the idea of the study trip. We hope from the 2022 to be able to travel again also abroad, but for now we don't know. Here we see some picture. This is this is Carol Povigna. I guess this was the first lecture about the knives. These are some of the former students of our course. This is part of the lecture about bread making. This is part of the lecture with David Zilber. Yeah, I guess he's making some koji. And when we have many pictures, but go on the website where you can get more. And so how we structure the course. Now the next edition will start on March 3rd. Even of course the application were closed down in September, October. We are still accepting people because due to the situation there are still some places. Actually we were already up to 25, and then absolutely understandable some students decided to wait because there is now the edition starting on March 3rd. The next edition will start in October 2021. So since I have no idea who is here, to which one is interesting, I want to say for that one starting in March, the graduation will be in April 2022. Courses will go on until October 21, and then there will be the time for the 2 internships, because that I didn't mention, beside the 700 hour in Pollenzo, the study trips, and so there are months that are devoted to internships. Internships that can be done in different countries. We had people from Taiwan to US this year, and can be done in restaurants, can be done in farms, according to the interest that the student has. The people, especially Carol Povigna and Noel, that spend a lot of time with you, will help you to understand which is the best place to you. You may propose a place where you may go, and then the university will help you. Otherwise, we do have contacts both in Italy and abroad, so it really depends. And so the course is structured like that. I say for that one starting in March, from March until pretty much October, there will be classes in Pollenzo and the study trips, and then from November on the time for the internship. For that one that will start in October, it will be pretty much from October until the beginning of the summer of courses of lectures in Pollenzo, the study trips, and then over the summer and the first months of fall, the internship, and then the graduation will be pretty much in October of the next year. For the courses in English, for the attendance, there has always been the rule of at least 70% This year, due to the situation, some courses went online. Actually, right now in Pollenzo, all the courses started in presence again. But right now, all the courses are also recorded. So if there are students that prefer not to attend in presence, they can attend on distance. So we will see the attendance according to what is the situation. How I say is a 90 university credit course. The application deadline, don't care about this because how I say this was for the last one. If you go on the website, I think right now you can subscribe already for the edition that will start in October 2021. While if you are interested in a late application for the one that we start in March, just contact the Secretary Office and they will let you know. The fees for now, for the course that starts in March, are kept to what has always been of 16,500 euro, including the books, the travel, and all what is dealing really with the course. So all didactic trips and what is needed for them are included in the fees. There is also a total fee exemption, so a scholarship that you have to fulfill certain requirements, and so we get all the application, and then there is an external office. There is a sort of a public office that will go through it and decide who has to have the scholarship, and so at the end, for the students that have the attendance that is required, 70% or less according to the situation, that passed exams, because not for all the courses, but for different courses within the manifesto that has been described, there are some exams, and also some practical exams. And so to get the master degree, and you get the master degree if you have also a undergrad degree before to attend, you will get the master at the end, but you have to take and pass all the exams. This is a typical Italian law thing. Not only to take, I mean, in US you can graduate with some failed. In Italy you can't, but it's not going to be a problem. There is actually, we decided not to have the final practical exam, but for different reasons, but there will be practical exams in each process that we have seen. Beside the master degree, and to get it, you have to have, I will say, grad degree. Doesn't matter what. This is a characteristic of all our master degree. We don't require that if you do this, you have to have a degree before. Because we think that the diversity of the students who come is actually an added value as well. And this is for all the master in Pollenzo. But it happens the case also that somebody that do not have an undergrad degree, but do want to attend this course, and is possible. We evaluate this kind of request. Just to give you the idea, out of 25 people in the other edition, we had one person in this situation. And in that case, the person will just get the certificate of attendance. Actually, these people, they are not requested to do exams and to do the final thesis that you have to do to get the master degree. You can do all the thesis or just a report of the internship. But the only person that was just an auditor, she wanted to take all the exam, and she also wanted to do the final thesis, just to tell you. I mean, it's not needed for the kind of certification we give, but she thought it was better to do also them. Here, with this, I'm done with the presentation, and I leave you with this quote, and read, that actually came to do the 3-year undergrad course after several years of experience in restaurants as a chef, as a young chef, or a young cook, as I prefer to say. And as you can see, is something that this kind of course is something that I would have liked to have when I was working in the field. As I say, it was at the Edinburgh Food Studio, but very recently they closed it due to the pandemic crisis, and he opened up a very successful bakery in Edinburgh. Here you can see the group of our students that we had last year. This before, in the other picture I pointed out Carol. This is Noel, the other person that is one of the pillars of the Pollenzo Food Lab, and this was Ben Reed that was there to do something about fermentation. As you can see, the students have in their hands something they just fermented. With this, I am done. These are some products from our garden that is actually nice, the garden, and also nice the products. And before we are here for the questions, I leave you with these slides for the contacts. You can write to secretaria@unisg.it. Plus, if you go on the website and then you subscribe and you go into the part about this course where there are information, you can also get my email and the email of Carol Povigna in case you have questions, and also you can use the Pollenzo Food Lab email. With this, I think I have said all, and we are here for all the questions that you want to ask. Don't be shy, we are just a few people, so you can use both the micro or you can use the chat, whatever you prefer.
Hi, I'm Shivam. I am from India, and I had a lot of questions before coming to this, but a lot of them were answered in this very informative presentation. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
I would like to ask a few questions. The first one would be, like, what is your favorite topic that is taught in the course?
Oh, well, no, I cannot say my favorite. I say what I teach. I can tell you what I teach, that since I teach two courses. One is about the one about food chemistry, because I am a food scientist, and so that is what I teach in many other courses in Pollenzo, and that and is actually quite a big course, because we think that to know what's going on, which are the molecules you have in food, to know if you have a certain thing and then you want to transform in a way or in another, we think that's very important to understand what's going on in the vision that I will say. We don't want to train people, but we want the people to understand. So I think that's very important. And then I teach also a part about taste, because since many years my area of research is taste, not in the sense of what we like, what we don't like, but really how it works, and about this, how can I transform a food to get a certain kind of taste, and so okay. So now you can probably you can see me better, and okay. While if you ask it to Carol Povigna, probably she will say that frying is her best, because she likes that. So really, or Noel is about baking, and so really depends. But we give enough space that when you will be able to cultivate your own desiderata, something that you may like.
That was really great to know. I would like to share this very small thing. I'm actually a computer science engineer right now, and I'm working for an organization. I'm just a geek who loves to study about food and prepare food. Speaking of food chemistry, I recently did a course, an online course that Harvard has to offer, which Harold McGee and even
Yeah.
they had a good role to play in. So that was really interesting. So I'm definitely sold about this. I'm very interested into this course particularly. Also, I would like to know about the opportunities to land internships or jobs. restaurants like
Yeah,
Osteria and
I was saying in the internship is not really something on the track in the sense not everybody has the same track. So just to give you an example, out of the 25 students we had in the other edition, the one that we just finished, we had a student who spent 3 months in a 3 Michelin star restaurant. And we had people doing the internship in a much more simple place, in a sort of agritourism, in a small farm where they were also. So it really depends on what is the interest. We have some people. Right now, we have 2 students doing the internship at La Masia, that is the research lab of El Celar de Can Roca in Girona. So we try to drive and to accompany, and that they met these people during the study trip, for example. So really, there is not one way for the internship. It really depends on what are the interests of the students. And these, I think, are some of the extreme examples that I can give you, to go in a place where they do research applied to a certain kind of preparing food, who goes in a very simple place where they raise a few animals, they have the garden, they transform it to tourists. This is called agritourism in Italy. Or that stay 3 full months with a lot of work in a 3 Michelin star restaurants in Italy. So it really depends. We have students who went in another Michelin star place in Italy that is a vegan restaurant, the only vegan hotel. So it depends from the interest. The university, through the career office, help to formalize according to the willing of the students as much as possible. It is possible to participate in some of the courses from your other programs. In theory, yes. I mean, we don't have preclusion on that. What is the problem, Alexander? The problem is that if you want to follow a course that is exactly in the same hours when you have another course, you have to make a choice, and you have to stay in within the 70% and so. So in theory, yes. For example, this year, since from April on, the courses that all the masters had for a few months has been online, all students for all the master could also take part or see the lectures that were recorded of other courses. Otherwise, you have to make a choice. One thing that I can tell you is that it happens more often that other students from other masters ask to follow some of our lectures than vice versa. So far, that happens more. But also there are another limitation on this. You can just imagine, Alexander, when we had David Zilber, all the university want to come and stay 1 week. He has been 1 week for us, so not just 2 hours, 1 week. But of course, we cannot accept because otherwise it would have been a problem for the 25 students in our course. Instead of 25, there would have been 100 people following the course. And so, beside this kind of limitation, we try, if it's possible, yes, but the overlapping is the main problem. We are dreaming actually about the possibility to build up to have a master that each student or students build it up according to taking, but it's very difficult to plan. But maybe one day we'll get to this. Who knows?
Thank you, Gabriela.
You're welcome. Where are you from, Alexander?
Bologna.
Bologna. Okay, we never had somebody from Bologna.
All right.
We had somebody from Lithuania, I remember, not far from there, a few years ago, but from Bologna, we never had somebody at the culinary art course. Other questions?
Hi, I'm Jane Londoño from Phoenix, Arizona in the US.
Oh,
I was
wow.
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the thesis process.
Yeah, the thesis are actually in our manifesto. The thesis it doesn't have many credits. There are only 3 credits out of 90 credits. It is the whole course, and that has been a choice because to put many credits like it is in the 2-year master, for example, they have 25 credits for the thesis, but you have to do it to complete it to get the master. And actually there are 2 choices. One can be just a sort of a report about the internship, and the other is a thesis. So you choose a subject, and you have to structure it about like a thesis. So you have to do the state of the art, which is the way you use it to design, or not necessarily has to be an experiment, but also which is the literature you use to go and go to demonstrate what is your final task. And so the process is this. And also in this case, it really depends. I can tell there has been people, if the student want to be more involved and to be more busy with the internship, to use more time the internships, they will do a small kind of work. On the website, there are we require about 35 pages as to be. That is the minimum that has to be, with some literature at the end, and so there are students that do it 100 pages. It was also in that case. If you want to do more, it's not a problem, but we wanted to keep low the number of credits and therefore the work that you must do for it, because maybe the student want to put that time more into something else. And the process is this. Usually you communicate talking with me or the other people in the Pollenzo Food Lab, Carol, so which is the subject that you are interested. Some of the subjects really require the production of something. In other cases, not at all. Right now, we had already 4 students who graduated, because the last edition they could decide if to graduate in December, or due to the fact that there is the emergency about COVID, some students decided to postpone to March, and we gave them the possibility to do that, because they are in the internship now. The 2 students that are in Spain, they couldn't go before due to the situation. They are there now, and so there is a student who did a thesis about the concept of tradition in cuisine, tradition and innovation, so the 2 phases, also because he was working with both 2 or 3 months, and these are 2 key points in his vision of cuisine. There has been somebody else that analyzed more some aspects about the distribution of food through the big chains selling food. There has been somebody doing a report about the vegan hotel on the Alps, and how to do that kind of work at a very high level. And so it's really broad and very different. I don't know if I answered to your request.
Yeah, you did. Thank you so much.
Okay, is already warm in Phoenix?
Sorry, what was that?
Is already hot in Phoenix? It's
Yeah.
always hot in Phoenix,
Yes,
right?
it is.
Yes, yes. Enjoy. Yes, it's cold. Jane, yes. Hello?
Sorry, that
Other
was
questions?
me still. I
Ah,
just
that was
finished.
you. Okay. If you have other questions, otherwise, while you think about other questions, I will say my colleague Franca Chiarla, that she has all your details, your emails, address, and so she will send you the link to if you want to see again the presentation. Otherwise, ask. Okay, I leave this to Carol if you want about what we have. Or I can say equipment available in the university kitchen. Well, we are well equipped about fermentations, and so sous vide stick and fractional distillation equipments. Yeah, we don't use the rotovapor because we use more chemical things, but yes, we do have a distillator. In the part about infusion and extraction, distillation is part of it. And then we have professional equipment for bread making, but also for drying, that we think is important. And then what else? Noel and Carol. Non si sente. Probably they have problems with the audio. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just switch the computer, and now I'm coming also with the video, maybe. Yes. Okay, in any case, what I was saying is that we have like all the tools that you can imagine that are needed to work with the big class. So we have 25 induction, we have the laminator for the dough, we have 8 oven with steam and forced air, we have a lot of fridges and so on. Plus, in the professional kitchen, we have 2 different kind of induction, 2 bain-marie in which you can like set the temperature as for a runner, so you can use it exactly as a runner. So we have 2 of that. We have the fire. We have 2 different blast chiller. One is just for minus or like +4 temperature, and we have one that can go from -40 up to +80, so you can use it for different purposes. We have 3 chamber in which we can select, check, and control both humidity, temperature, and forced air. So you can use it both for pasteurization, for fermentation, for dehydration, and so on. We have a lot of different small dehydrator in which you can apply the forced air from different direction and so on. We have all the stuff, as Professor Samorini was saying, to do bread making. So we have different planetary mixer, both spiral and the one that is more like close to the hand movement. We have the oven for bread. And we have a professional oven, combi oven with steam and forced air. Then, like all the small equipment that could be needed, we have some lab tool that are used. So the distillator, that we use for mainly for infusion and extraction, for the pairing class, and so on. So to test the different solvent and. Yeah, we have the sous vide machine, and we have the sous vide machine both that work also. We have 2 of that. One that could work directly with the trail, so you avoid completely plastic. So a lot of different. It's long the list. Sorry for that.
That was really intense. Thank you so much. Really looking forward to the process.
I think we can quit unless you have other questions. My colleague, I will say, send you the presentation. Otherwise, write us on the website, and in the last page of the presentation, you have the email address of the secretariat. That is the best, the first place where to land for any question. Then in case they turn your questions to us. All the best and take care, and hopefully see you sometimes in Pollenzo. Very likely, I guess nobody is interested really now. It's a bit too close. It's 1 month, actually less, 4 weeks. So hopefully see you in fall. Arrivederci. Arrivederci, arrivederci. Buon pomeriggio and take care. We still are not out of this tunnel, but it will go through. Arrivederci. I close the registration.